Now guys, welcome back to the graphics guy. For the second video here now, I'm just going to continue on. I want to look at cubic sections where we will draw cubes and we will put cuts in them. So again, freehand is, I would like us to focus on doing these freehand. So I would use maybe a 3H pencil or a 2H pencil, and we'll just sketch these cubes. Now in our first lesson we looked at drawing freehand sketching cubes, so I'm going to presume that you've worked your way through that and that you've mastered the art of drawing these cubes. So I'm just going to finish off this cube here now. So I'm going to keep this cube light now, because what I want to look at in these exercises now is we're going to put some cuts in them. Now, to keep it simple, the first one I'm going to do here, I'm going to just put a dot in the middle of this sort of edge, in the middle of this edge, and in the middle of this edge, and we are going to cut off. So I'm just going to chop off a little triangular section off that. So you can just see there now I'm tentatively lining that up. So I want to chop off this triangular corner here. Now in this one I'm going to use a pen. Now you could also use a heavier pencil or just go back over it in pencil, but I am going to use a pen here now because I think it comes out well on the video, just so much darker, it's easier to see. So here's our cuts. You can see the advantage of not having the sheet stuck down there. It just makes it that little bit easier for twisting and turning the page there to suit the wrist. So here is our cube. And I'm just going to remove there now the pencil lines on that. Going to put in our horizontal plane here now, like that, and I'm going to add a few colors there again, because I do think adding colors just makes it a bit easier to picture these things. So again, you don't have to get it perfect. So there's our horizontal plane. Now, just to highlight that this is cut, I'm just going to put in freehand parallel section lines on that, and I'll just add some colour onto this then as well. Okay, so that there is our first cut cube there. It's just a little triangular section taken off halfways on that. Okay, so just moving on, we'll do the same thing again. We're going to draw a light cube. So I'll just do this the other way. In the last video there I spoke about using a Y to start, so I usually don't, but I will just do it there to demonstrate it again there, just might help people to remember. So probably better off just to have one way and practice that way all the time. So here's going to be our cube. So this time I'm going to put the cut through the corner. So I'm going to go with that corner, this corner, and the bottom corner. So it's similar to the first one I did, but just a much bigger cut. So again, just guiding myself along, so that's there. If you go over the direction of the line before you draw it there, it makes it easier to do it. So there's my cut. So I'm chopping off a big piece of this here. Now I'm going to heavy in with pen here again. So this is the top surface, the left hand surface, and here's our horizontal plane here. Going to lighten off the corners of the cube now that are gone. Put in some section lines. Don't need to put them in too close. And again, I'll just change the colors that I'm using here for the horizontal plane. So I'll just put the horizontal plane in green. Again, I was saying on the last video there, make sure you've got a good point on the pencil, and when you put that pencil down almost horizontal there, keep it really down flat. It's pretty quick then to colour in big sections there of that. Doesn't need to be too perfect because we're not too concerned with the horizontal plane or whatever. And here's our object. Just brighten this up now with some brighter colours. I think work out better than the darker colours. So I tend to use yellows and greens and oranges if possible. So both of these involve cutting a triangular section off of the cube. So in the next one there now, I'm going to go back to my pencil here now, and I'm going to draw cube number 3. So here's our crow's foot. So this time now I'm going to do something just a little bit different. Now I suppose I'll start easy here. I'm just going to go halfways again, halfways up here, halfways up there. It's, you know, if you're using halves, it makes it easier to picture it. So what I'm going to do there is I'm going to just chop a chamfer off of this. there is the rest of the cube. There's our horizontal plane. Again, I'm going to just remove the corners there. So put in the ground horizontal plane. Just makes it look so much more realistic when you put in a horizontal plane than just to have the cube just sitting there floating. So here's our cube, and now you may or you may not want to put in section lines, cut section lines like them on a surface like this. You may or you may not. What I'm going to do with this one slightly different is I'm going to just put that cut surface in a different color. Okay, so triangular section cut out there. That would be a rectangular section or surface there, but so that's 3 cuts, and I'll do one more here, and that will be a nice sketching exercise. So again, we're practicing our cubes a lot. Great practice for freehand sketching. So here's our cube. So this time now, I'm going to do something slightly more complicated, just a tiny bit. I'm going to go at halfways on this edge. And what I want to do, now if you wanted, you could go halfways on this back edges here as well. I want to cut a square section out of this. So that, I'm going to draw like a plus sign in the middle of this surface here, but I really only want, you'll see here now in a second, I really only want the top of this. So I only want that and this heavy in. See, I'm a small bit off there now, it doesn't matter, you'll see when we rub this out. Now these are going down vertical. Now you could put a dot in the middle and go all the ways down, but I'm just going down here, halfways down, and that's going across at that angle. And again, I could go towards there if I wanted. So I'm trying to cut out a cube out of this front corner here, so you'll notice now that this actually looks like a hexagon. So finally there now, this is going to be coming across at the same angle as those, and here now I can understand a little bit of visual difficulties here, and just picturing there now how this is going. When I'll have this coloured in now, you'll see it in a second, I think, a bit better, because it's easy to lose the image there now in all the lines there. But when I finish off now, heavying this in, you'll see exactly what I'm after doing. So there's my top surface. Here's the left hand side. There's the right hand side. There's my horizontal plane. Going to remove those construction lines. And now again there, we'll just shade this in. So I'll just go with yellow for the chopped out section. We'll go with blue maybe for the rest. And just put orange or something on the ground. Now, don't lean on the pencil too much when you're colouring in, because you don't want to draw distinct lines in it. You know, you just want a really light, just a really light blend of a colour there across the surface there. So just, if I was to demonstrate, and I showed this in the last video, if you keep the pencil up, you're only drawing with the point and it goes down into the page and it kind of leaves distinct lines and it takes forever to colour that in, whereas by keeping it low like that, it looks better and it's so much faster, and if you miss out on little bits you don't really notice it. So there we have 4 different cuts there. There's a little inclined cut there taken off halfways, that's taken off through the corners, inclined cut or section through the corners, simply inclined cut there, and this now is more complicated by far to take out the cube. So there is our second exercise. That's cubic sections, and that's sheet 2. So I hope you enjoy that and have a bit of fun with it.